The iPhone SE 4 is coming, and we just got some brand new leaks showing that it's gonna be much better than we anticipated. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the new leaks, the information that we already know, along with some of the features that we're gonna get on the updated phone, and the price tag and the release date. So a lot of stuff coming up here. Now, the iPhone SE lineup has been kind of boring, at least the last few iterations. At first it was okay, but recently it's just so far behind with the design that is 5, 6, 7 years old now, and a camera from the iPhone 8 that it just doesn't make sense for most people. Because of that, a lot of people are excited for a newer refreshed SE that will actually be a reasonable phone for 2023, 24, this kind of era that we are in. Even though the current one has an A15 processor in it, so it's very powerful, when you take a look at the battery life, it is terrible. Even with the iPhone 12 having about 30% battery remaining, and the same thing with the 13 mini, compared to the SE. And the camera quality, like I mentioned, is the same compared to 2021, which even the Pixel 4a absolutely destroyed. Well, that is going to change because the SE will finally be a good phone again. Now, we had some rumors in the past that are coming to light more so now that the iPhone SE will finally be ditching that old tiny LCD screen for an OLED that's coming in at 6.1 inches. And that is basically the same size as the iPhone 14. This could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your perspective. You guys can comment down below. But a lot of people that were buying iPhone SEs are those that were using lower priced Android phones, and they wanted to get into the Apple ecosystem without spending a lot of money. But being 2023 now, most of them do not want to buy something that is so outdated, and of course with the other issues that I brought up. Now, as far as size, if we put these two side by side, the difference isn't massive as far as footprint, but the 14 is wider and it is a lot thicker as well. This is one reason why some people still buy an iPhone SE, because it's so thin and lightweight. And personally, I think that would have been great if they just used the iPhone 12 or 13 mini's frame and made that the SE, because that would still give you a nice balance of size. And looking at that battery chart that I showed off, well, the battery life on the 13 mini was actually quite good, similar to the iPhone 12. And of course, with the newer processor, that would get even better. But nope, it looks like we're gonna have the same flat-sided design on the new SE4 as the iPhone 14. And with Apple's market research, most people are gonna want something that's a little bit larger, but thankfully there are gonna be some other updates. One thing we saw is that the SE4 is likely gonna be the first phone that is using Apple's in-house 5G modem, and this was mentioned by Qualcomm's CEO themselves for 2024. Now that means it's gonna cost Apple less money to create it instead of having to buy it from Qualcomm, and we might actually get some better efficiency as well. And with the SE3, Apple actually bumped up the price tag to make up for the 5G that they added into it. Now, as far as the processor, I would expect Apple to be using the A16 or maybe even the A17 in there, because typically when they update the SE, they put in the latest processor, and that makes the longevity of these devices very good. And it also helps with battery life being such a thin and light device. Now, as far as the cameras, we are still gonna have a single lens camera on the back, just like all the other SEs. So even though we're gonna have this kind of a modern shape, it will have a single camera. But the good thing is it's gonna be much, much better than the SE3. If you guys see the difference in camera size there, it is massive. Now, Now, I expect the SE4 to have a 12 megapixel camera in it. It will not go up to the 48 like we're gonna see with the newer iPhone, so you are gonna be behind, but it will still be a nice improvement. Now, we know that the iPhone 15 is gonna be getting rid of the notch from the 14 and getting the dynamic island, which is gonna be sweet, but because of that, Apple is gonna be able to put the notch into the iPhone SE4, so it's gonna be a generation behind. Now, we have more info from this latest leak saying that it is gonna be featuring an action button just like the new iPhone. So it's gonna get similar across the lineup. And this is one thing that we were not expecting on the SE4, and another way that it is going to be getting better. With that, it is also gonna be getting USB Type-C, so it's gonna make it match up with the rest of the lineup. It's gonna be universal. Now, I expect it to still have slow transfer speeds on this budget device, but it is nice that it is getting that. And we also have info that different manufacturers are actually bidding right now to make those OLED displays. So that's the last big update, OLED instead of LCD. Now, what is gonna happen to the price tag? For a while, we had the SE at $399, then it bumped up. Well, personally, I think that it's gonna bump up to $499, and that's gonna be one reason why they're using the iPhone 14 style design instead of the Apple XR design that was leaked for a while, just because they want to refresh it and be able to make some more money from the device. With inflation, with Apple trying to make more money as less iPhones are selling, that's going to help them out. And I think that with a more modern design that's much better with much better battery life, it's going to be a phone at $500 that is going to tempt a lot of Android users to switch over and have a good enough device to do that instead of wanting to stick with Android. Now, the only negative is we've gotten some updates on the release date, and I really hope this is wrong because it doesn't seem to make sense to me, but that the device has been delayed until 2025. Now, the reason why I say it doesn't make sense is because we had the iPhone SE2 in 2020, then in 2022 we had the SE3, and 2024 springtime would match up perfectly, and then by that time the iPhones have been upgraded to the iPhone 15 lineup, and that's going to give Apple a much better device to sell earlier on instead of waiting for later. And especially if companies are already bidding on the display to manufacture it, it doesn't make sense to be a year and a half out. You guys let me know your thoughts. Is that a phone that you would want to buy and to use, or would you prefer them to use the mini body like I would? Thank you guys for watching. Click that circle above to subscribe. Check out one of those great videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.